Hey guys, before we get into it deeper, I'm aware Rachel talked about her now amazing relationship with Brian, mother and parents and vice versa. She talked about Waboom and all of these other people and friendships and things like that. But I didn't want to just touch on every single little detail. I just picked the parts of the interview that I felt, made sense and I wanted to talk about. And even with that, I still went over 20 minutes. I don't want to make this video too long. So if you feel like, oh, Vina, you didn't talk about Rachel's current relationship with her mother-in-law, or you didn't talk about, the friendships and connections, it's because you guys already heard it. So, and if you want to listen to it, I'm going to put that link in the description below. I didn't want to just talk about every single thing. I just picked the part that I wanted to talk about, and that's what you're going to hear. So thank you for supporting. Thank you for stopping by, and I appreciate every single one of you. What's up, my Vina loves? It's Miss Vina D coming to you all from Vina TMN News. Yay, I'm back. I know. Some of you are probably thinking, hold up, wait a minute now. We know Vina is very positive. We get it. But whenever someone comes for Brian and Rachel, the interview is negative. If it's the idiot doing the interview, talking about Rachel, she's on it. If it's Wendy Williams, she was on it. The BET article with Eric and the interviewer just coming for Rachel, she was on it. Entertainment Tonight, all of that. Now Rachel had this amazing positive interview that everyone is raving about, and it's taking her 150 years. Now, does Vina only reveal the negative interview and not when something great actually happened for Rachel? What's going on? Nah, come on, guys. You already know I'm all about the positivity about these two. I've been very honest on this channel with me having other businesses outside of YouTube. And so I've been very honest and said that, there are times where I might not upload on the days that I said I was going to upload, or I might not do things in order. And if that ever happens, that means that I'm probably doing other things outside of YouTube. When it comes to giving review, right, you have to be fully involved and engulfed in the interview and definitely understand what's going on. Every time that I tried to listen to this podcast, which was a little long, something came up, right? I had to put it on pause, go and handle something else, go and do something else. And I can't give a full, honest review if I can't give my full attention to something. So I was finally yesterday able to just sit down for over an hour, listen to the entire podcast straight through without any interruption, without no, let me pause it here and go do this and come back. So now I can give my honest review. A lot of you have listened to it. This is old news at this point, but you have not received, the Vina touch. So I'm sure some of you are excited to listen to what I have to say. So, hey, thank you all for the DMs and the messages and all of that. I will never ever throw my R&B hive, my Brat Chill, my supporters. I would never throw you guys away. I ain't going nowhere. I'm back. I'm here. Okay, so let's get into it. So, most of the things that Rachel said in this interview, we've heard before and all of that. I think the reason why people are raving about this interview is, for once, the person doing the interviewing was very respectful, wasn't condescending, there were no hateful undertone going on, and this person have also had, similar experience as Rachel, so they understood, and every other question wasn't about the other guy. And it was almost like two girlfriends, sitting down, having a cocktail, and just having an amazing conversation. And I think that's why people are excited about this interview. Another thing is, most people who are not, really here for Brian and Rachel for, whatever reason, were able to give this interview a chance and see another side, I guess. So for me, the reason why the excitement wasn't on the same level as everybody, because it's like, okay, when you have talked about someone and covered someone for, a little while now, you kind of understand and know who they are and a little bit and things like that. So on the side of Rachel, it was no surprise here because she's always pleasant in interviews. She's always respectful in interviews. So it was no, huge surprise here. I think the surprise came from the fact that the person doing the interview, Olivia, how pleasant she was to Rachel. So some of the key points to cover was, Rachel trying to point out that before, she was the lead, which the lead gets paid. She was just saying how if you are there looking for love, like when she was there on next season, you don't get paid. So it's like for the people who be like, oh, you're going to be on this show, you have money and things like that. No, you don't get paid. The only person who get paid is the lead, meaning, when Rachel became the Bachelorette or Nick was the Bachelor, those people get paid, but the contestants, no, they don't get paid. So now you understand why certain people act crazy and do certain things for the camera, because they feel like, first of all, I have, not quit, but put my job or my income on pause, for this show. So if this person is not going to pick me, and my chances of getting to the top probably won't happen, I'm going to do some extra stuff to make sure that I'm remembered after the show so I can capitalize on whatever 15 minutes of fame I have left and make my money back, and that's why some people go above and beyond just to have some type of shine after the show. So I already knew this, but for the people who didn't know, that was a great thing to reveal, that for people who say, oh, you did this for money, if you're not the lead, you're not getting paid. So that's one. It was nice to hear about a little insight and, the bedroom and, the situations in the houses and things like that. It was nice to, hear them break it down and all of that. So let's get to the, important parts. Rachel talking about, she didn't think she was going to go that far on next season, and that she always knew that it was going to be, Vanessa and all of that. Then she got into, talking about Brian. I'm going to jump around a little bit. Talking about Brian and talking about how she never looked Brian in the eyes because it was going to be too obvious. She always knew that Brian was, she said that she always knew that Brian had something special, but she didn't know until the Geneva date. This is now our first time hearing this. We've heard this in other interviews, right? I guess it's just because of the way how this interview made everybody feel. Like I said, the host was very respectful and it was very relaxing to finally listen to something pleasant. So, but we've heard Rachel say this over and over again. It was in Geneva and then hometown when she saw herself defending Brian, to her family. This is not her first time saying that either. So once again, she said this part. Brian was so charming. Brian was too good to be true. Brian scared her a little bit. And so she put him through the ringer because, it was just too storybook for her. And she wanted to make sure that he wasn't just coming in there, selling her a dream just for her to turn around and buy it, which we've heard before. So that wasn't the first either. What she did talk about was all of the serious moments that she and Brian had. She said Brian is a talker when it comes to her. When they're in large settings, Brian, he back off, he allow her to have, her space, her moment, her time, and he just kick back. He's just there to support her. But when it comes to her, they talk a lot. She talked about how Brian having these personal conversations with her, especially talking about, his father, surviving cancer and all of that. And all the show put on TV was them kissing. So she talked about how the show not being fair to Brian. And she also talked about how, because she and Brian never had any drama and they had to make a show that was interesting and appealing and had some type of drama to it. So that's the reason why she feel like, Brian was cheated, because they had some very serious, deep conversations. She talked about how she was the very first person to bring up love or falling in love with Brian or whatever the case might be, but they only showed Brian saying it, and his part, they did not show her saying it. So she just feel like, Brian was cheated. And I'm going to get to Brian in the end. But you know what? Since I'm on the topic of Brian, let's just put everything on the table. She talked about how the whole situation with the other guy cheated Brian of his moment, because the finale was a hot mess. You know, she wasn't afraid to bring that up. The finale was a hot mess because they went from this emotional moment with the other guy, left America in this emotional wreck of a stage, you know, and feelings about what just happened, to then expecting America to change their mind and go into this happy place of her getting engaged to Brian. And she feel like ABC really cheated Brian once again. Not only did they cut off all of the important conversations they have and how amazing he is, they cheated him off his proposal moment, because everyone was talking about the other guy and that emotional breakup, and the focus wasn't on the amazing Brian, the things that he was saying to her and all of that. So she did stress her frustration with the finale and hoping that it never happens again to someone else, and that, you know, the show really did her and Brian dirty the way how the, you know, final episode went down. So that was very interesting, you know, to hear, and it's very true. She talked about how patient Brian is and how she really admire Brian, because after all of that, you know, he was very strong. He was the trooper, you know, through it all, through all of the hate, and that's one of the many reasons why she loved him and admire him so much, because of all of the hate that came, and Brian have just been so amazing coping, you know, with everything. So she talked about how all in Brian was and is. You know, a week after they finally went public, they went to Miami. Brian rented out his condo, sold his car, packed up everything, and moved to Dallas. That's how all in Brian is, and she loved him. You know, she loved him about that. And you know, there was like, she's like, you know, you don't date someone, you know, for 9 weeks and they're just all in like that. And she was just happy that Brian, you know, she picked Brian because he's all in. And so after that, since we're talking about Brian, I mean, Rachel should, right? This is her husband, her husband to be her forever. But Olivia was just all not over because Brian wasn't there, but she was just all over Brian. Not literally, but when she talked about Brian must rocked in and out of the bed, I was just like, okay, now I know y'all gonna get comfortable. You think she's your girlfriend or something, and this is buddy, but come on, sis, like, you kind of pushing it. But I just love how Rachel was so involved in the conversation, and so like Brian didn't go nowhere. I got him on lock. That she just breezed through that moment, and it wasn't awkward at all. Cause Olivia talking about how, you know, Brian must rock in and out of the bed, and he looks like he's an amazing lover, and Brian looked like, and it looked like she, Olivia, and Brian will get along perfectly because they're the same people. They're the ones at the party that, you know, will be, you know, in a corner somewhere, and oh, I can't wait to meet him. He's seen, and she was just drooling over him, and I was like, girl. Can you be any more obvious if you don't sit down somewhere? But, you know, I just love how Rachel just, you know, went past those questions and those moments, and it wasn't awkward at all. I was just like, okay, whatever, sis. But I thought that part of the interview was a little interesting, you know, but it's all good. And I love that Rachel talked about, you know, things she didn't like, and she opened up a little bit, like not liking cheese, her fear of birds. In the next episode that I'm going to post, you know, Brian did post, he uploaded a video with birds in it, and he captioned the video, Rachel, your biggest fear. So in that next episode you will see that, but this is a bonus episode, so I'm not going to include, you know, videos and certain things in here. I'm going to save it for the actual episode. But it was nice to get to know Rachel a little bit, talking about she played as if she couldn't be any more perfect. No, no one is perfect, but talking about how she played classical piano, and she been playing for 13 years, and she was good, so good enough that she played in the church and all of that. Okay, Rachel. So it was nice to learn, that about her, and things that, she hated, all of that. Talking about, will she add, in addition to her family, as far as, man's best friend, not kids. Of course they're going to have kids in the future. She just want to get married first. But she talked about, adding someone, another dog to the family, copper, but she feels like she's going to be the one taking care of it. So not right now. Now let's talk about the other guy. When someone, I think this interview also made the other guy fans realize, look, not only have we been hard on this lady, why are we taking this so seriously? Like, why are we, some of us, going above and beyond, almost about to have a brain aneurysm due to stress about this total stranger, when this lady could care less about the other guy as far as hate? When people say, oh, Rachel is not happy and she's just pretending because she's still in love with the other guy, and she hate him and all of that. This does not sound like hate to me. In every interview, when his name is brought up, her responses are so pleasant. When someone really hates someone and they're not happy in their own life, whenever that person's name is brought up, their attitude change, their voice change, and their responses change, where it becomes either awkward, their responses is hateful. For example, he who shall not be named, the idiot. Whenever he's asked about Rachel in interviews, his responses are always hateful. That's how you know someone have not moved on. Someone is still stuck in the past. When someone is so happy, they don't have time to hate and be unpleasant towards someone else, okay? And that's how you know Rachel is in a good place. She had nothing but nice things to say about the other guy. She talked about how she told him America was going to love him. She talked about how striking he was. These are not things you say about someone you can't stand. You would do anything in interviews to say negative things about him and make him look bad if you were still hating. But she's not. She's happy. She's in love. She's about to marry her handsome doctor. She's not over here tripping about that guy. So she talked about how she told him America was going to fall in love with him, how handsome he was, how striking he was. She's never obsessed with people. She didn't know that it was going to be this army of obsession as it relates to him. She also revealed some things we already knew and some things we didn't know, like the other guy going as far as asking her what style she want her ring to look like, where they were going to live, and things like that. So now you guys can understand her frustration. You don't go as far as asking someone the design of the ring they want to have, but then say you're not going to propose. Why are you asking me about a ring? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you having all of these deep, important conversations with me? She even said that at one point, the other guy told her he loved her but wasn't in love with her. But then when she went to the room to break up with him, she went to the room because, and I completely feel and understand where Rachel was going with this. I don't want someone to write a speech, to show up to potentially propose to me, to go through all that just for me to turn around and say no and embarrass them on national television and also hurt their feelings and break their heart. So I'm going to spare this person all of this the night before, send them home so that the person who is proposing can have that day all to themselves. I think that was a very clever idea. So when she went to the room to break up with the other guy, then out of nowhere, she's getting, I love you, I'm in love with you. She's getting, even though I don't want to propose, if that's what you want, that's what I'm going to do. Like, and she's like, what the heck was going on? Because first of all, now you're in love with me, but you don't want to propose, but you're going to propose if that's what I want. And then another point that she brought up, which was very clever, was America talking about how she's so intelligent, she's so strong, she's so powerful, how they support her, they love her, they rock with her and all of that. But she was saying that if I'm so powerful and I'm so strong and I'm the first black bachelorette, African American bachelorette, and all of these things, how come all of that went through the window when she chose Brian? It's like, so all of a sudden I'm strong and all of that, but within 10 minutes I'm not strong anymore and I'm chasing the ring. She's like, she should never been one to settle. Her going with the other guy would have meant that she wasn't strong, she did not change, and that she settled. Her being with Brian is like, she didn't settle for a ring because she's not someone who settled. She came on a show, for love to find her, love found her, and she got every single thing that she wanted. And how Brian is an amazing lover, and he's everything, and he checks out everything on her list. And no one is perfect, but he couldn't be more perfect for her. So it was good, for her to reveal those things about the other guy, and I was like, okay, wow, and she said that the show did everything in their power to showcase Brian as this douche or whatever, douchebag, whatever the word. I don't even use that word. I don't know why I'm deciding to use it. But and then the other guy as this striking and emotional guy, when it was really the other way around. But she completely understand. The show had to create drama and all of that. So, but she was just sad that Brian suffered the most in all of it, and I already talked about this. She talked about how now she didn't know how it was going to be when it comes to she and Brian living together, because she loved her space. She loved her own space, and oh my God, this person is going to be around me all the time. What's going to happen and all of this. But to her surprise, Brian is so much of her best friend that she don't want to be away from Brian. And now when she goes and do interviews and travel and things, she said, okay, when is this going to be over so I can get home to Brian? So it was very nice to, see how there's so much in love and that she cannot wait, to get married and all of that. And then, of course, they talk about other guys on the show and other things that was going on. And then it was just a fun-filled interview. But the reason why I personally did not have this wow factor is because I've been covering Rachel and Brian for a while now. So as far as her attitude, how she behaved, her fun side, all of that, I've seen that. Now, I really want you guys to watch the next episode because I have an amazing surprise that I don't want to ruin in this episode. Something great happened to me a few days ago, and it's going to bring everything that I've been doing full circle. And an invitation was also presented to me that I almost tear up a little bit, but I didn't because it's shocking, but it's not also shocking because that's the reason why I started covering these two. So without me giving it away, I just want you guys to really watch the next episode because I have some great news, man. But anyways, overall, the interview was amazing. Whatever I didn't cover in here, I'm probably going to talk about it in the next episode because I'm already at 22 minutes. And yeah, I've already talked too much. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here, my Vina loves. But, the interview was great. I love the girl talk and the moments and all of the, Twitter questions and just amazing moment that they had. Most of you heard the interview already, so I'm not going to drag this video on any longer. I'm wishing you all an amazing weekend, and remember to always have the God bless attitude, which is being positive at all times and seeing the good in every situation. Have a great day, guys. God bless.